Hello survivors, and welcome to another video. In today's video we are going to be playing a holy build on the Arcane Weaver. We are using 6 specific skills for this build, but because it only uses 7 out of 10 runes power, and because the skills aren't actually that difficult to get in terms of how far you have progressed into the game, this is a really strong build. So the skills that we are talking about are Sacred Orb, Celestial Retribution, Templar's Verdict, Hammer of Justice, Holy Fire, and Might. Now, if you were reading what all those skills do, you should have seen that there was a common factor, and that is that all the skills do 3 times more damage on critical strikes. So the runes we're running for this are Weapon Expert, Skill Mastery Holy, Skill Inclination Holy, Skill Affinity Holy, and Multicast Mastery. Now, although we are playing Holy only, which means that the last skill is Might, you can change Might up for Arcane Power, or you can go for Bloodlust. The only thing is, Bloodlust, you'd only be using it for the cast frequency. You do not need the movement speed on the Arcane Weaver, because he does have that passive that every time you pick up one of your orbs, you gain a burst of movement speed. So over there we were on 46, we're now on 48%, and it just goes up and up and up every time we pick up one of those orbs. The faster you pick them all up, the more movement speed you're going to get, but you do get that burst. And you also don't want a lot of movement speed, because otherwise you have to stand still on the orbs, whereas if you don't have the movement speed, you don't have to sit on those orbs. You don't have to, if you don't have movement speed, you don't have to sit on those orbs. That's what I said. I don't know why I thought I said the wrong thing, but tongue twisters sometimes, they get you. So first skill out of the bat, out of the skill level ups, was Hammer of Justice, which is fantastic. And there you can see at the bottom it says damage is multiplied by 3 on critical strikes. Now this would actually be a lot better on the Paladin, but I decided to do it on the Arcane Weaver because we've actually done way too many videos on the Paladin recently. So I thought we could do it on the Arcane Weaver, and it's just going to be a very strong one as well. There we go, we got multicast on Holy. We do need to grab as much crit as possible. You need to have the 100% crit. The other thing you could do is even take off your one of the skill, either skill affinity or even skill inclination. I think skill affinity could be gone, and what this is going to do is you can then go for the critical mastery, and that is going to make it that much easier for you just to get what you are looking for. So for us, we need to just keep banishing over here because we are not finding the last and final skill. There we go, we did get it, and we also have one more banish for Leviathan, so we no longer need the skills. There we go, and now we're going to go and look for all that juicy crit that we need. Alright, so yeah, as I was saying, you don't need to maybe go for the Holy Affinity or Holy Inclination. You could go for the Crit Mastery over there, and because you are going to be reaching 100 plus crit, you can then go and grab that, and you'll be in a fantastic spot in terms of all of that. So we're going to grab Lethality, Area of Effect for, I think that was Frontal, I didn't actually see, no, it was Burst. So Area of Effect for Burst, which is Holy Fire. What else was Burst over here? Celestial Retribution as well. So Holy Fire and Celestial Retributions, both very strong skills as well, just because of their area of effect and things like that. What I would suggest is if you do find yourself a third dodge, take it. The dodging is really important. We're also going to grab one Doom so that we have the possibility of getting ourselves an impending Doom. So Doom to Dazed, which means that Holy Fire will be doing more damage because it converts all of our dazed stacks into disoriented, which means that we also have increased crit and crit damage on bosses as well as things like that. Oh, we dodged right into that. The only thing about this build is the lack of survivability. The damage is there, but you know, if you get caught by things, you are going to die, so you do have to just make sure that your dodges are timed pretty well. You don't really want to get caught in something that you didn't have to get caught in. So just make sure that you do time your dodges, because your survivability on this build is really whack. But besides for that, the damage on it is made up quite well, you know, in terms of, you know, damage and survivability differences. So it's not a useless build. You don't necessarily need all of that survivability, any of the armor and things like that. You do just need to kind of focus on just getting survivability up though. So there's our impending doom. Fantastic. We can also grab one touch of ice so that we can get hypothermia as well. Whether or not it's going to show, I don't know, but we'll just grab another one just in case. Slow is also really good for survivability, so making sure that you slow enemies does mean they move slower towards us, which, you know, it's not a huge survivability thing, but it does help that little bit with surviving. And then we are going to go and slowly move to all of these pylons. You don't have to, it's a little bit of a time waster, but it is the only survivability you will have on this build, besides for killing enemies faster than they kill you. So having less AoEs to worry about is going to be, you know, the difference between living or dying. And obviously boss choice does make a big difference in terms of surviving as well. But as you can see, we have a ton of damage. We did, however, get knocked by those grenade characters over there, so we did have to, you know, take some damage over there. That was just unfortunate. A little bit of damage though isn't really such an issue. Just make sure we're dodging. We do have a double Chaos Bringer, which is fun as well. It's actually nice to have the Chaos Bringers. They're not really difficult to kill. A lot of the time, the worst boss that I can see myself having is actually the flamethrower guy, just because, you know, if you stand in his flamethrower for too long, you will just, like, you know, die, kill over. But what happens is then you kind of have to stay away and run around in a circle, whereas the other bosses, you can kind of stay a lot closer to them. Alright. Now, the other day we mentioned the possibility of the bug with the passives, whether or not they're being intentional or not. That is the four characters and their passives, that being the Paladin, the Spellblade, the Arcane Weaver, and the Barbarian. If you haven't seen the video, it is linked down below in the description. But that video we mentioned is this intended, and it has actually been confirmed by the developer that yes, it is intentional. It is supposed to be like that. It is supposed to stack. However, it was never supposed to be intended to reach such ridiculous numbers like some of us have reached on the Discord server in some ridiculous builds, and therefore it is going to be changed in a form of adding a limitation to how many stacks or how high the number can go. It will probably be the soft capped or hard capped, just like some of the negative effects are and things like that, so we won't even know there's much of a difference. Also, the numbers that were reached were just ridiculous. Like, some people landed up getting over 7,000% crit, and then if you had the crit mastery, that's over 7,000 critical damage, extra 7,000% critical damage, which is just completely insane. So a limit does have to unfortunately be added, especially for the Paladin's one. The other characters didn't really have such a strong thing to it. Like the Arcane Weaver, you have to pick up his orbs in order to get his bonus movement speed, and the Spellblade is damage reduction, so his might be one that needs a limit, because with enough damage reduction you probably could hit you know, being next to pretty much immortal, especially since you can stack armor and block as well. So you know, just good to know now that that is actually something that was intentional. It wasn't a mistake, and the developer does have a plan for it though going forward. Not removing it, which is fantastic, but definitely changing it to work more balanced wise, which is cool. Makes sense, you know, it is completely broken. It does feel like it is a bug, and obviously when there's bugs, we all tend to run to them more often than not. Right, as you can see, pylons melting, enemies melting. It's quite a really fun and fantastic build, very user-friendly. Although the only thing about the build is having to learn how to dodge the bosses. It isn't like a one-hit KO boss skill. We kind of do have to aim your skills at the boss and hope that they've got enough daze stacks on them. Again, do have the Doom to Daze though, so that's doing a lot of damage, you know, a lot for us. There is something that a lot of people have mentioned. They do wish like you could see how much the actual Doom to Dazed helped you in the stats screen, or you know, how much burning damage did you do and things like that. It would be interesting to see that, but is it necessary? We aren't entirely sure. Obviously something that people want doesn't always benefit the game itself, but it's just going to make more clutter. I mean, as it is, there's so much going on the screen, so adding something like that, personally, in my opinion, I mean, it's not, I mean, how much burn damage are we going to do, or how much doom damage did we actually do? I guess it could help, but because right now we only see how much the actual skills do, not the doom itself, unless there's something in the detailed screen that I don't really understand that actually tells you how much the doom is actually stacking in terms of like number of hits or something like that. I don't know, just lowballing it over here to see if we can come up with something. But let me know down in the comments section if that's something that you maybe want to be added to the game as well, if that's something you've thought about before previously. It'd be like, oh, I wish I knew how much poison damage I dealt, or I wish I knew how much doom damage was dealt to the bosses before, you know, we completely annihilated them, or before they landed up just dying. So let me know down in the comments section if that's something you want to see. Here's the stupid flamethrower, very irritating. We've got our eternal guy as well. He's also quite irritating. His isn't so bad, not as bad as the flamethrowers, but still, you know, irritating to have to deal with. The other thing about the flamethrower is that he also has a lot of fire down by him, so you can't really get close to him, because when he first spawns, he does have that fire around him as well, and that causes a little bit of grief for us. But this is the last boss fight. It's been a really fun time. We did actually lose a life there again. Double life lost there. Fantastic. I'm so good at this. Let's go there, go damage. Fantastic. And keep going. Now, what I do think is this build will be 100 times stronger if you do use the Paladin. But again, I didn't really want to use the Paladin. I've used him way too many times today, or recently, and I just thought we would try this on someone else for a change. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let's take a look at the damage. Again, like I mentioned, holy fire. And yeah, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.